Okay, there are literally a million different swords inside of Bloxroot, so today I'm going to go over a tier list for the best swords for PvP inside of this game. Let's go. Okay, so this is my tier list right here. As you can see, we've got the God tier, very strong, decent, terrible, and useless. Now, obviously, this is not every single sword in the game, as the video would just be way too long if I tried covering most of them, and also not every sword in the game is actually good for PvP. This is more or less the ones I just see the most. These swords I see pretty much every single day if I'm PvPing, so these are the ones to look out for. Okay, so I'm going to start the list off with the regular Trident. Now, I see a lot of people use this for some reason. I don't really know why, considering the Dragon Trident or the Spiky Trident's a million times better. I'm just going to put this in useless. I don't know why, maybe it's just me, but I see a lot of people using this weapon for some reason. And I kind of have a small feeling people just think it's the Dragon Trident. When people say like, oh, you should get the Trident, I think they don't clock that this is different from this. I don't know, boys. Okay, the next one we've got is obviously the Triple Dark Blade. Now, I've personally never ever seen people use this, but I thought I would put it on the list anyway because people would actually just yell at me in the comments. Obviously, it's God tier. It's completely broken. It's an admin item. Of course, it's going in God tier. After that, we have the Hallowed Scythe. Now, this weapon's actually pretty good, and I actually don't mind this weapon at all, to be completely honest with you. I think it's very, very good, but it's not God tier for sure. I think I'm going to probably put this one in very, very strong. Okay, so first of all, this thing actually looks really, really awesome, and the first ability, the Death Cyclone, while it doesn't break Instinct, it does have a lot of damage, as you can see, and it also is a massive hitbox, so you can hit this thing pretty regularly. Then the next thing about this is the next ability, which is the Soul Execution. Now, fun fact, you might not know this, but this ability actually does more damage when they are below 50% HP, which can make it a really, really good finishing ability. Get out of here. Which is why I think it justifies a very strong tier. Okay, the next weapon we've got is my personal favorite, and that is going to be the True Triple Katana. Now, this thing is God tier, boys. It is an absolute beast after the rework. The rework made this thing incredible. It's so overpowered now, and it just does crazy amount of damage. Okay, so the reason I have the True Triple Katana on this list in God tier is simply due to the second ability. Now, don't get me wrong, the first ability is a very solid ability. It's good for movement. It does a lot of damage comparing to other abilities as well. It does have a little bit of a low distance, like travel distance, can be a little bit hard to hit if you're not used to it, but the second ability is absolutely ridiculous. As you can see, it throws them up into the sky, perfect for combos, which is really, really broken. Okay, so the next thing is the Dark Blade. Now, for me personally, I think the Dark Blade needs to go in very strong. I don't think it's earned the God tier spot purely because the abilities aren't great for combos. You can absolutely use it for combos, and if you're really good, you can make some absolutely, like, really nasty combos with it. But personally, it's not the easiest to combo with. However, it is really quick. The first ability does break Instinct as well, and it is just all around a very strong sword. Okay, so the next weapon I have is the Shark Anchor. Now, I don't have the second ability for this because I honestly, personally believe the second ability sucks in comparison to the first. It just ain't that good. It's so mid in comparison. The first ability is so good. Like, look at this, right? I can grab him and I can piff him into the ground. Perfect for combos. It's so good. Like, it's so broken. Has low cooldown as well. However, the second ability on this is just a grab move that does a lot of damage. It does break Instinct as well. It's not the best though, because it has super, super low range. Now, with all that being said, I'm going to put this one in very strong. This is a lot of very strongs, I know, but these weapons are absolutely insane, and the Shark Anchor is no different. It is a beast of a weapon. Okay, so this next one might stir up a little bit of controversy in the comments, but it's going to be Rengoku. Now, in my opinion, Rengoku is actually God tier. Now, the reason for this is the damage is absolutely insane. It only has pretty much one downside. The combos are very, very easy to pull off on this sword, and it's just ridiculous. Okay, so let's go over this real quick, right? Rengoku, you've got the first ability, which is the Demon Slayer ability. This is what it does, right? Now, you might be like, hey, that's pretty good. As you can see, it actually gives you a Burning Blessing on this sword without having the Burning Blessing. So it's actually kind of crazy because you get the burn damage without even having the blessing, which is really, really good. Also, the damage is really solid, as you can see right there. You're already getting like 5, almost 6k damage just from a single sword. And this isn't even like, I don't even have this upgraded at all. This is just like the regular sword. Now, where this becomes really, really strong is the actual second ability. Now, Burning Slash is not that good if you just press it like that. it's okay. It can do some pretty good damage, as you can see. That's alright. But boy, oh boy, if you hold this thing down, you can create an absolute thunderstorm, which does a ridiculous amount of damage. It breaks instinct and is like the easiest combo thing in the world. Like, it's just, this sword is broken, boys. Like, I don't know why people don't use this sword. You should absolutely use this sword. Okay, the next sword we have is obviously the Cursed Dual Katana, and this thing, boys, it's going God tier. There is no way I'm not putting the Cursed Dual Katana in God tier. This thing is arguably one of the best swords in the entire game. The combos on this thing are absolutely nasty. Okay, so one of the main reasons I think this sword is God tier is the dash range. The dash range on the Slayer of Goliath, the second ability, is ridiculous. As you can clearly see, you can gap it pretty quick and pretty far. I'm not gonna lie, when I see people charging this sword, it is like the most misleading thing ever, because I'm like, oh, they can't hit me. And then they charge at me at Mark 18, and I'm like, oh boy, they hit me. And the first ability is no slacker either. It is an absolute beast. As you can see, it does an absolutely ridiculous amount of damage as well. And you can charge it as well. Like, you can just keep them in it like this forever, and then pretty much just burst out 8.5 thousand damage for no particular reason. And if you do hit them with the Slayer of Goliath, yeah, it does a lot of damage. Okay, the next sword I have is the Saber Sword. Now, I'm putting this one in decent. It's okay. The rework made it a little bit better. I wouldn't say it's particularly the best. Doesn't have a lot of range, which is why I'm gonna put it in decent. It's not terrible, but it's okay. Now, the next weapon we have is the Pole V2. Now, personally, this thing is a pain to get, and it's kind of meh. Like, I'm gonna put it at decent, and the reason for that is, yes, I know it has insane stuns and also really good combo potential, but the actual, like, circles of damage it does, like the AoE, is really bad. Like, it's not a lot of AoE, which is kind of crappy for a weapon that is, like, good at stunning, you know? Like, you have to be very, very accurate with it, which is why I'm gonna put it at decent. Okay, so the next one I have is going to be the Midnight Blade. Now, I really, really like this sword, and in my personal opinion, it's very good tier. And the reason for this is pretty much just purely based on the fact it's a great beginner sword. It's pretty much the easiest combo in the entire game to pull off, and it's really good for beginners if they just want to start learning combos. Okay, so when I say this thing's good at combos, let me show you why. Okay, so portal opening, right? This is the first ability. As you can see, it creates a portal, does a decent amount of damage. It's not the best damage in the entire world, but it is, like, pretty solid. And the next one is the Crescent Dash, which is this one right here. Again, decent damage, not the best damage in the world, but I'm going to show you guys the combo that makes this really, really good. Okay, so the combo that I like to use for this is really, really simple to use. First, you use the X move, which is the dash into the Z move, which is pretty simple. I'll show you. So dash into this, into the Z move like that. You create a portal, and then you can charge up with any other ability you want to use. That's 14k damage right there, and I only use 3 abilities. Like, that can pretty much one-shot a lot of people if you're high bounty versus lower bounty people, or you can follow it up into even more stun moves and stuff like that. As I said, this sword is really easy to use. It's a great beginner sword, which is why I put it in the position it's in. Okay, so the next sword is this electric thing. Now, this thing is, I don't actually see it used too much, but when I do see it used, it's not very good. Now, the reason for that is the stuns are pretty bad. You have to be pretty accurate with it, and the knockback is very finicky, so I don't really like this weapon, to be honest, which is why I'm going to put it in decent. I think it's okay. You can use it, but I definitely wouldn't be using it for myself personally. Okay, the Fox Slam. Now, this is probably going to cause a little bit of flack, but I don't really like this weapon, to be honest. It's not. I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan, boys. I actually, to be honest, I kind of hate the weapon. I'm going to put it in terrible. Now, look, it probably doesn't deserve terrible, but I'm going to put it there because I seriously hate this weapon. I don't think it's very good. It was such a letdown from what it could have been. Something really, really cool. The abilities look really cool. It's like, why would you use the Fox Lamp when you can use something else? You know what I mean? Like, it's just not that good. Okay, the next one is the Dragon Trident, and this thing is, I'm very tempted to put this in God tier, to be completely honest with you. I'm not going to, but I think you definitely could put it in God tier. Now, the reason for this is because of the sword. You can't miss with this weapon. The second ability on this is a massive AoE splash. If you know what it is, you know what it is. It's crazy. It does, like, you can't miss, bro. It's so annoying. It's also a really, really strong stun, so I actually really like this weapon. Okay, the next weapon is for all those mechanical gods out there. Now, if you're a really good combo user, you're going to love this weapon, and you probably use this weapon. The Spiky Trident is an absolute beast at extending combos. If you can hit combos, this thing is a absolute unit, and really, really annoying to fight, because you're going to be yanked into every combo. I hate this weapon, but it's really good, so I gotta give it a good spot. Now, personally, I could put the Spiky Trident inside of Very Strong, but I'm actually going to God tier this thing purely because if you have the potential to be really, really good at combos, this thing is actually nasty. Like, I'm talking the fight is over before you even get a chance to even have something to do, because they've just put you in such a combo that you physically can't move. Okay, this is the next one we've got. Now, I don't even know how to say this or pronounce this weapon. I don't really like it, to be honest. I think it's okay. Like, it definitely has its moments. If you're good with it, you're good with it. But I personally think there's just better weapons out there, which is why I'm going to put it in decent. I think it's okay. I think it's all right. But there you guys have it. That's the tier list. I think it's a pretty good tier list. Personally, it's just my opinion, though. I know I'm going to get absolutely flamed in the comments, though. But anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. I'll see you next time.